In the words of Rick Ross, Tua Tagovailoa. This motherfucker got paid today, and after a whole summer, not summer, spring, off season worth of conversation of whether or not the Dolphins actually wanted to pay him. It was a big conversation in Miami sports talk. That actually got done today. Tua signed a 4-year extension worth $212.4 million. But as we know in NFL, only thing that matters is the guaranteed money, and that guaranteed money is 167 million guaranteed. I've been saying this since day one that I'm not a big Tua fan. I think that Tua has a great wide receiving core. Obviously, uh, Tyreek Hill is one of the best wide receivers in football. Jalen Waddle's pretty good as well. Mike McDaniel is one of the best play callers in the game. I think that it kind of comes like what I just said with Jordan Love. I don't think Tua even is as good as he is now on any other team. I think he's a very much a product of Mike McDaniel. We see that he was struggling a lot, couldn't stay healthy. Also, when they had my man Brian Flores was there, so they had to pay him, which is a story with every quarterback out there who's not an elite guy. You have to pay him. Which other way were you gonna go if you didn't pay him? But it's just a situation here where it's the same thing with the Dolphins. What's gonna be it's kind of what we said with the Niners, but a little less than that is you gotta win a playoff game. Them niggas ain't won a playoff game since Marino. Like y'all gotta break that streak, and he's gotta go out there. Now that he's got the money, you gotta go out there and make the moves to win the playoff game and be healthy. Their defense just took a massive hit this offseason. So now you don't really and the defense wasn't great to begin with. Now that's taking a hit. A lot more is going to be thrown on Tua. A lot more is going to be expected on Tua. And they have to win now because guess who's up to get paid again? Tyreek Hill. You're going to have to pay Jalen Waddle soon. And it comes to all these situations where it comes to with the organization, you have to win doing the quarterback's new deal. So he just got his new deal now. So the rookie deal's over. He just got the new deal. When are you going to step up and make the moves to actually prove that you're a really, really good quarterback and a franchise quarterback here? So as far as the money, that's just how the market is. Now it's time for him to show and prove and see if he can actually live up to that contract. Mikey, what you think about the contract and just Tua's overall place right now with the Dolphins?
I mean, I'm a little bit more higher on Tua than you are, and a lot of people, man. You could say he's a product of his environment, but you know what, man? He's consistent. Last year, he was almost at 70% passing, completion percentage. He made the leap from the first year with Mike McDaniel's, 3,500 yards, 25 TDs, and 8 picks, to then going to 4,600 yards, 29 TDs, 14 picks. He had more picks. I know there was a couple games that he had multiple picks, but I don't think enough gets talked about it, like the overall team and the overall product with the Miami Dolphins. You know, as being somebody that lived down there, they're really reliant on their home field advantage. It is extremely hot down in South Florida, and they expose teams early in the season. You'll notice they always get out to like a 6-1 record.
Every time.
6-2. Because it is a proven fact that when cold weather teams go down there, they are not ready to handle that humidity and that heat for 60 minutes, for 4 quarters in September, October, or November. The issue that I have with the Miami Dolphins as it pertains to the Tua thing is they need to adapt their style offensively. First off, they need to get better defensively. But they need to adapt their style offensively for those cold weather games, for when they need to play in December, for when they need to have it. It's insane, but he went from almost 70% completion percentage to 52% in that Chiefs game. Like, they are almost kind of the definition of front runners, because if they're not hosting a game in January, then they're pretty much cooked. And it's just the style that they play. Like, I think there needs to be more of an emphasis on running the ball. They have a elusive back in Devin Achane. Obviously, I know he was hurt last year. He played sparingly, when he came back. But they need to really lean on that early on in the season and build an identity that can go into a Baltimore, that can go into a Buffalo, that can go to New York in late December, January, that can win. Because when it comes time to that and it's cold out there, that shit that they do on offense, the motion offense and everything with Tyreek and all that, like it just doesn't work. So I think McDaniels needs to go ahead and improve his play style. They need to get better players on defense. But Tua's gonna give you his numbers. You know, like you said, we say he doesn't deserve it, but we would have taken Tua's last 2 years as a quarterback, you know, on the Chicago Bears. Many teams would have taken his production. It's almost like they're the Dolphins West, you know, the Dolphins South, you know, just the way that their offense is, it's very system like, but when they get down to like the nitty gritty, like they just can't surpass that. So I don't know if it all falls on Tua. I know Tua is the easy scapegoat because he's lefty and, you know, just all of the jokes with him. But I think that they have a really good offensive team. I think that they can go ahead and do some things this year. But you know, there is going to be more pressure now on Tua to overcome all of that and to deliver.
Dante, what you think about Tua? Which way you on with as far as he goes?
I mean, I'm not saying he weak, but the cold weather stuff does concern me. Like it really does. And so you can jump off to all the hot starters you want. Like Mikey said, it's proven. They did a study where it was like, you know, the way that they built the canopy at Hard Rock Stadium, the opposing team is pretty much always in the sun. Like always in the sun. So like when the Bears played there, you heard them complaining about, you know, cramping up and being dehydrated and just being in that Florida sun, you know, with the humidity the entire game. So I think that does help them. But then what do you do when, you know, the playoffs are played in December, you know, January. So you're going to these places where you don't have home field advantage. You don't have home field advantage. And now you have to go out there and play. So just seeing how they adapt. But I mean, McDaniels is a great coach. And one thing they showed you is that they're maximizing the speed on that team and that they get their guys in space. And so you're going to have those games where they put up 40, 50 points simply because they have that type of personnel. But at the end of the day, I think it's gonna come down to what he does in these cold weather games. You got to prove people wrong. And I'm not saying he can't do it. I think he can do it. But until he shows us, there's always gonna be the knock on Tua. Like outside of the concussions, which are 100% out of his control, he can actually control what goes on in these cold weather games. So when you go out there and you look uncomfortable, like you don't want to be there, that's gonna be tough. And people are gonna be like, well, why do we pay you? So I think the money's right where it should be. He's paid pretty much right where he should be production wise. It's just a matter of seeing, can he take it to that next level and start winning some road playoff games, because it's gonna come down to that.
Alex called him Bloodline Dak. It's fucking hilarious. Big Oos Dak. Go ahead, Bang. What you think about Tua's new deal?
You got to pay him. Just like with the Jordan Love thing. You got to pay him. You cannot pay him. You set your whole team back. You got to think about it like this, right? Everybody, when Tua was coming out, it was like, yo, we gotta tank for Tua, and that's what happened. But then he had got hurt. Still, it was, what do we do? Then you got Justin Herbert and all these other quarterbacks and stuff, and he's the last really to get paid. But you had to pay him, because what's the alternative? What, Mike White? That's the alternative? Like, no, that you got to. Now, do I think he's going to lead them to a championship or anything like that? No, he's not. But you have to keep him on your team to keep you competitive. So, I mean, that's where we at, and that's where we always been with quarterbacks. Like, you think if it was possible, like, look at some of the quarterbacks back in the day who was pretty good, pretty decent, make it to a Pro Bowl or two and stuff like that, but they're never going to lead you to somewhere. Like, you never get rid of those quarterbacks until you have to. So you got to ride this one till the wheels fall off.
That paper on this player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna